Good afternoon, Mr. Bancroft. I just have a few questions I'd like to ask you, specifically to what you just said on direct examination. Now, you said that you felt like you had no other choice but to make this bribe. Is that true?
It is.
Okay, now I just want to get this clear for the members of the jury. For this bribe, you put $200,000 into a black briefcase,
I did.
and you went down to the casino floor with this briefcase
That is correct.
into the VIP room,
Yes.
and that is when you gave the money to Chase Covington
Yes.
in return for his vote.
It was.
Okay, now I want to start from the beginning, March 31st. And now you mentioned that conversation. May I approach the witness with the transcript?
You have a copy of it first, or you know which one she's referring to?
Yes,
Okay.
this has already been admitted.
Yeah,
into
no,
evidence, Your
yeah,
Honor.
I just wanted to make sure you knew which one she's
Yes.
referring to. Yeah, you may.
Thank you. Now, in this transcript, you said you got the feeling that you were being pressured from this conversation. Is that true?
Yes.
Well, just to be clear, nowhere in this conversation does your executive assistant, Corey Hyde, say that you need to bribe the commissioner. Isn't that true?
What will you do to sweeten the pot is one thing that Hyde said that struck me.
And so he never actually told you to bribe the commissioner.
That's correct.
And in that transcript, Officer Keenan never told you to bribe the commissioner.
Officer Keenan might not be the best trained officer, but he is smarter than to use the explicit word bribe when trying to pressure me to bribe someone.
Okay, so he never told you to bribe anyone, but he did drop hints. Is that true?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And now I would like to move forward to another transcript. You had actually called Chase Covington on April 15th, isn't that true?
That is.
Would you recognize the transcript if I showed it to you today?
Absolutely.
May I approach the witness?
May.
There you go, I'll take that, thank you. This is the conversation that you had with Chase Covington on April 15th.
Yes, it is.
And in that transcript, you actually say that there's no need for a middleman. And it doesn't take Mickey Keenan to clue you in that sometimes you have to get your hands dirty in Midlands, isn't that true?
Yeah, I didn't want Mickey Keenan to be around anymore because every time I had pitched ideas, the criticisms he gave me were really vague. I wanted something substantive, something that I could actually consider, something that I could maybe use to improve my thing, but he just kept saying, like, sweeten the pot and go the extra mile, things that were just insinuating a bribe. And when I said I wanted to get my hands dirty, I wanted to just take this opportunity by the reins and do it without somebody who wasn't adding anything to the conversations. I wanted to take this by the reins and I wanted to do my own negotiating. I wanted to do all the legwork. I was gonna do this all personally. I wasn't gonna let any underling do this for me. I was gonna make sure that only the best was handling this.
Thank you, but going back to my question, you did say that Mickey Keenan doesn't have to clue you in, that you have to get your hands dirty in Midlands sometimes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, may I approach the witness?
May.
Thank you. I want to go back to April 13th. That was a meeting that you had with Chase Covington.
Yes.
Mickey Keenan and your assistant was also there, right?
Mickey Keenan, my assistant?
Mickey Keenan and your assistant was
And
also
my
there.
assistant, yes.
Yes. Now, you were talking about your proposals,
I was.
and you were talking about how your proposal would be the better fit, right?
Yes, it would.
And you were going over figures with Chase Covington.
Yes.
How much revenue your casino would bring in.
Yes.
Now, you said on direct examination that you wrote a figure down on the napkin, isn't that true?
It is.
And that was for the building insurance?
It was.
So every single figure in this conversation you said out loud, but when it got to the building insurance, you decided to write that down?
It seemed like he wanted something concrete. When Mickey Keenan passed it back to me, said it's all about the money, with a napkin and a pen, figured he wanted something concrete to hold on to. I didn't know if maybe the building insurance for the other proposals was anything different. So yes.
Okay. I want to move on to April 16th. You said that that day you noticed that you had two choices, right?
Yes.
One of them was to bribe the commissioner.
Yes.
That day, that's when you put the $200,000 into the briefcase.
Yes.
And you actually went to Suite 312, where you're supposed to meet Chase Covington, right?
That's correct.
Chase Covington didn't show up to this meeting,
Yes,
so you left out.
that's right.
You left out with $200,000 in your hand.
Yes,
And you didn't go back to your office with that $200,000, did you?
I did not.
You didn't put the $200,000 back in the safe.
I did not.
You actually met with Chase Covington on the VIP floor, right?
That's right.
And that's when you gave Chase Covington the money.
That's also when I gave him my last pitch. It was my last ditch effort. It was the last day. I woke up and I tried to give him my last proposal. And I knew Mickey Keenan would just be breathing down my throat about the money. So yes, I did bring the money as the backup option if my final pitch wasn't good enough.
Okay, and now I want to talk to you about some of the choices you had in this matter. And now, Mr. Bancroft, you never went to the police and told them that you felt pressured to give a bribe, isn't that true?
I did not.
And you never went to the other commissioners on the gambling commission.
Well, Chase Covington was the swing vote. I thought that I could still convince him just based on the merits of my proposal. So I wasn't about to go to the other commissioners or go to the police.
Well, you are aware that there are 3 members of the board of commissioners, right?
Yes.
And Chase Covington is just one of them.
And the other 2 always split.
And you said that you felt pressure from Chase Covington to give money, right?
It was mostly Mickey Keenan.
Well, you never went to those other 2 board members and told them this, right?
They weren't the ones I needed to make happy.
And so instead, you decided to bribe Chase Covington.
That's correct.
No further questions.
Thank you, Ms. Harris.